That's a little bit better or worse. I don't know. Hey guys, it's Steve. Normally I do Facebook videos, but now I'm gonna try to start to do some YouTube videos. I probably don't get very many views, but um, I'm not really looking for that. We're looking to actually get the word out. Today I want to go over the our gun laws and the reason why I do not choose to carry, why it is detrimental if I do carry, and because the fact is that there's just too many ifs and buts in our new laws. But this is how this becomes a hindrance to the public. So I have some questions for the public who are all for gun control and want to ban all type of weapons or whatever, because I have some questions. So please enlighten me with your knowledge that I don't particularly understand. I'm talking about any weapon that's made within reason. Okay, you can't have a cannon and fire a damn cannon, but any weapon that is devised to or actually protect oneself or others, that's what I'm talking about. That includes AKs, it includes AR-15s, it includes everything that is in our arsenal that people want to ban. They even want to ban bump stocks and weapon grips and bump stocks and all these things or whatever. Well, let's be the first one to tell you, if you're using a bump stock on your weapon, you're probably frustrated as hell because it jams every 3 rounds. The only reason why you have a shoulder harness or anything that you can attach your shoulder with your pistol is to better your aim. And if you want to ban silencers and you want to ban all these other things, that's your business. I don't care. But here's what's going to happen. Okay, and here's what currently happens. This is happening whether we realize it or not, because law-abiding gun owners are actually choosing to put their weapons away because the fact is that the ultimate trouble that it causes them. How does this pertain to you? Let's say, for example, you're in Kroger or Walmart or somewhere, and there's an active shooter. Now, if I'm carrying, and based on my training as a Marine and and in the Army, I would confront that individual. I'm armed. I would confront that individual. It's doing one or two things. It's distraction from everybody else. It's just me and him and my weapon. Number two, I can probably drop him before he drops anybody else or me. And the third reason is because the fact is if he is actually paying attention as an active shooter, in the end, he's going to notice that somebody in that establishment is carrying. So he automatically knows there's going to be some kind of confrontation. And then the fourth thing is that could you sit there and watch another person have to kneel down or have to beg for their life, and you not to be able to do nothing about it? You couldn't do nothing about it. You didn't have an arm. You couldn't do nothing about it. You're going to be hiding in the corner. You get any way to get away from the shooter. Meanwhile, you have nothing in your arsenal or nothing you can do except for what these people. I said, if you can live with yourself, that's great. However, my mentality is being trained the way that I am. If I see a threat, I go to the threat. I eliminate the threat. I don't run away. A lot of people are saying, you've got that type A mentality, toxic masculinity, or whatever. Call it whatever you want to. No, I'm a warrior. I've seen things that you couldn't even possibly imagine of third world countries who are not allowed to have weapons to defend themselves. What happens to them? And it never works out in their favor. So you want to stop gun violence? In fact, just stop giving the individuals who are carrying such a hard time doing so. Everybody's uncomfortable around weapons because they weren't. raised around weapons. When I was 18, I went to the Marine Corps. I had some trouble with the law. They said no big deal. I just got a waiver for that, and they gave me an M14, an M16. I had 14 first, and I had 16. Trained on both, but anyway. So I'm 18 years old. They're handing me a damn weapon and saying, you know what, go kill this son of a bitch over here. But guess what? I'm 18 years old. But you're willing to send me over to do the fighting for you, and you don't even allow me to protect myself when I'm home. There are many rules and regulations that apply to gun owners. The fact is, you can't just pull your weapon out and throw it all over the place. Those common sense type of deals. But the fact of the matter is that if you ban all people from having guns, including the police officers, or they have to go through some kind of special training to get the weapons that can actually protect you, then you're biting off your nose to spite your face. I understand you don't want to carry a weapon. That's fine. I understand you have the right to choose, and also choose the value of your worth, of what your life is worth, what it would mean to you. That's your choice. But I also have that right. I also have that right to protect myself and keep myself safe. Now people are going back, the Supreme Court has not helped us all in this matter at all. But they have come back and they have said, well, we have to go back. That's historical, how the laws applied historically. Well, let me get you straight, okay? These boys that wrote the Constitution, they weren't coming back from a hunting trip, okay? They fought. Their families paid for it. They died. They created a new constitution that said, you know what, we can have arms if we want to, because the reason why was because the British were telling them you can only have squirrel guns. They needed to hunt for a living. But you can only have a certain type of weapon. Now, this weapon, of course, is a squirrel gun, so it really not as much damage as a musket, a British musket. So we had to overcome that. There's a little story here behind that, how they do that. Well, these muskets that they had, they packed them full of powder and packed them full of shot. On the march from back from Boston, back to Boston from Bunker Hill, the British got a really good taste of that, because the fact is that they figured they had it all cleared out, because the fact is that, you know what, they only had squirrel guns. Well, the American people hid behind every tree, every blade of grass, every hill, everything, and take pot shots at them. That's how we won a war. Because individuals had weapons to actually prevent someone taking over, or taking their family, or killing their family, or whatever the hell the British were doing. I digress. But here's the fact: if I carry my weapon, I know somewhere, shape, form, or fashion, even though I legally have it, I'm going to be stopped. I'm going to be questioned. I'm going to have to show my ID. They're going to run my background. And they're going to come up with anything possible they can to get me, to let me know they don't like me carrying a weapon in public. If I carry a weapon in public, it will be people who will actually complain because they have a weapon. The same damn people who will be begging you to save their life, but will be wanting you to put your gun back in your truck or wherever when you're around them. I'm sorry, people. It's just the way the world works. Bad things happen to good people. I can't even imagine how many good people were at Uvalde, at Parkland, all these shootings that we've had. But in every case scenario, once the individual was confronted with a person who had a weapon, they ended up killing themselves, or they ended up getting killed. What does that mean by killing a threat? That means one more life is saved. One more person is saved. One more person gets a chance to move out of that building, get out of harm's way. That's what that means. So what you're really trying to say is that people who actually own weapons just want to do so for show. I'm sorry, but there are some that actually want to protect others. They don't like seeing 18, 19, 20 people killed. When you're asking yourself, what was the guy with a weapon? Take his ass out. What the hell? And then we see the total act of carelessness by a whole police department. An individual has a weapon. They've got 75 handguns and I don't know how many long rifles in their cars and trucks. They didn't enter a building. One person who had only owned this, this is his first weapon he'd ever owned, was an AR-15, and he kept 75 people at bay. Don't you wish you had somebody in there while he was in the room killing all those people? Wouldn't you have just said, go in and shoot him and stop him? Please do that. We don't have the capability now because of an individual like you don't have guns. Today, in today's world right now, where's our problem? Our problem right now is between 25 and 18. These individuals are your mass shooters. These are the individuals who are taking people out. Mental issues, they have them. Everything can be documented why these actually pick up the gun, or they were actually been studied on why they picked up a weapon to kill innocent people. Well, as long as there are people out there that are willing to kill innocent people, harm children, women, people who are not able to defend themselves, then you're going to need somebody who's actually ready to do something about it. Give you a scenario. If you were a parent and your child was in a room where you knew there were gunshots being fired, not even if your son or daughter was hurt, but just you knew that there was in a building that somebody was actually shooting at these kids. I know parents that would run in there barehanded to get their kids. And that's what they're forced to deal with. We saw in Uvalde the officers not following protocol, who said back, who waited, who said they didn't want to go in because somebody had a bigger gun than they did. I'm sorry. You spend 30 days at the range every year. You're around weapons. You carry one on your hip every day. And you're scared of another person with a weapon because yours ain't big enough. Well, I watched the whole crowd of parents know what's going on and trying to get into that school by any means necessary to save their kids. They weren't even armed, didn't have any body armor, didn't have anything, because that's the sacrifice they would make. I wanted to get my kid. They were willing to go in barehanded without any armor at all, save their kids and the other kids in the teachers' lives that actually were being threatened. We know that individuals who actually perform mass shootings, we know the reason why they're actually doing so. It's body count. It's not about not about lives. It's about how many people they can kill to break the record of the last shooter. That's what it is. It's a body count. If you don't believe that, look at the media, because they'll always tell you how many people are shot, how many people are killed, how many people are wounded. You know, that's the bottom line. You'll see on the truth. They never actually say. Well, a civilian had a gun and took him out before he could kill 20, before he could kill 10. 5 of them got killed. God rest their souls, but it could have been worse. So if you think that by taking away other people's guns is going to solve your problem, go ahead, more power to you. But do not expect me to risk my life to save your life because you decided to actually have somebody control you, tell you to get on your knees and blow your head off, and there's nothing I can do about it. So the question remains, should I carry? I'll say no. What's in it for me? Nothing. If I saved your life and the guy was getting ready to shoot you or had you in his sights and I shoot him and I save his life, are you still going to be Are you still going to be a proponent of guns? Opponent of guns? Are you still going to be that way? If somebody saves your life by utilizing a weapon because of mass murder was actually going through and shooting people, that were the first people they could see, and I take him out. What are your What are your chances in saying, you know what? Hey, maybe I'm glad that guy had a gun. So you can pass all the gun laws you want to. You can pass everything, and people have done it before in the past, whatever. But ever since we've been a free nation, we will find a way to get guns so we can protect ourselves and our family. That's it. We would like to have the opportunity to carry weapons in public, so we are a deterrent for them to actually shoot other people. If you go into an establishment and you're armed, there's a lot more likely that people ain't going to start shooting. Or they're going to go to another store and shoot. Or they're going to go somewhere else to do their shenanigans. But having no opportunity to defend yourself in a free country, it just boggles my mind. Do I carry? In my truck, I got 2 guns in my truck. I got my rifle, I got my shotgun, and I got my sidearm. They're all in there. They're all legal. Everything's fine or whatever. Do I take them anywhere? No. You can bet your ass if I see something suspicious, I'm going to my truck. You can take care of yourself. Talk him out, whatever, sweet talk him, whatever y'all want to do. There's too many opportunities for things to go wrong as long as he's having that weapon on top of me or on other people who are actually in the crowd. Because you're right, an AR-15 shoots 3 rounds. That's 3 people right there. Boom, boom, boom. That's 3. Boom, boom, boom. There's 6. So imagine how much time it takes me from getting my establishment to my truck and get back if I decide to come back. My way of thinking right now is hell no, every man for himself. I have been lucky enough to have been trained in combat and also trained for years on anti-terrorism maneuvers, intel, all these things or whatever. So I can kind of spot when there's something bad or something. I just feel something's not right about this place. And me and my wife will leave. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably wrong, but at one time, I'm right. Something happens. Somebody gets killed. There's a bowling alley down here that had a Friday night shooting. So you can't even take your kids down to the schoolhouse. Then you take for a birthday party. They got a bunch of kids together skating ring. Nobody was armed. Nobody was actually looking out for them. Nobody was actually caring for them or providing for their safety. They were just providing for their safety. They put a helmet on so they wouldn't bump their head. Well, I think maybe somebody else with a weapon come in there and shoot a bunch of kids. I think that is a little bit more saving their lives or protecting them. So what you've done and what anti-gun people have done is you've driven it underground. You have driven these weapons underground because normal people like me who actually have been trained know how to use them, know what they're applied for, know the rules of deadly force. As soon as you read that, soon as you break leather on that, we know what we're doing and we know what we're shooting at. But that doesn't mean everybody does. So I'm sick and tired of hearing the gun control argument. My argument is I'm going to protect myself by any means necessary. If you happen to be in my vicinity, I will make sure you are safe to remove the threat so you don't have to worry about it. That's what I was trying to do. But the more you scream about guns, less of the people there'll be less people who are willing or able to defend you if something bad happens to you. I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm trying to protect other people from being stupid. If you don't want to carry, that's your business. But don't stop other people from protecting themselves. And don't stop people from protecting other people. You don't want guns. You don't want that violence in our area. You don't want that violence. Let me tell you something. The United States of America has always been a violent nation, whether you realize it or not. We used to have duels if you assaulted somebody. This is carried on from generation to generation. It's not just our country, it's all other countries or whatever. And every country knows that in order to provide a defense for your country, you have to have weapons. Please talk to me about you're taking away my guns, and you're a country who's got 1,500 nuclear weapons pointed at China and Russia. And then you got all these people that got submarines, and they got Minuteman missiles who can actually capable of attaching an atomic device to this individual. It comes out of nowhere. So please tell me you want that kind of protection, that you don't want that kind of protection, because guess what? 3 or 4 of those go off, you ain't got to worry about guns no more. But you as a nation are telling me that, you know what, I can't protect myself, but I accept the fact that my nation's going to accept myself by shooting nuclear weapons and wiping out the whole world. Right now, as we speak, Russia is already moving nuclear weapons into Belarus. Do you see where we're drawing a line here? You're telling American people they can't defend themselves in their own country. So what made me go into 2 combat theaters in Iraq and Afghanistan? What makes me go in there? Because the fact is you send me over to do your dirty work for you. You gave me a gun and said, you go do it for me because I'm too good to do it. I want to do a stint in the National Guard. Okay. But with SOF, you had a bunch of individuals who actually believed in something and believed in actually protecting you, and they went besides their thoughts, their fears, their families, or whatever, but they did. And there are still a certain amount of people who do not like individuals, innocent individuals, getting shot, getting killed, or being threatened in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And it used to be in America that we would also stand up for those individuals. You say that, well, they're going, well, where you can't carry weapons or whatever. I want you to ask this question. You tell me where I can't carry. But this somebody here ain't gonna listen because they don't give a shit about the rules. They're about to go in there and kill about 15, 16 kids. He don't give a shit about the rules. He don't give a shit that you ain't said that he couldn't buy. He don't give a shit because he ain't planning on coming out of there. And unfortunately, or fortunately, how you want to look at it, the fact is it takes bad people. It takes bad people to stop bad things from happening. I'm not saying I'm bad. All I know is I've had to pull that trigger. I have had to defend myself. I've had to defend others, not only my people, but also innocent civilians. And I do so because the fact is that they are unwilling to do so themselves. When do I stop and say, you know what, screw you. Another mass shooting that's around me, I'm gone. I'm not going to protect somebody who's going to yell and scream at me for actually having a weapon and actually going to the range and shooting and staying proficient with that weapon. I'm not going to do it. You're on your own. I may hang out to issues of first aid. But as far as putting my life in danger, no, I'm not going to do that because you won't allow me to protect myself. So guess what? I ain't protecting your ass neither. There we are. So next time you're going to go up to next time, the body count's going to keep going up and up and up and up until we realize, you know what? We need people in there that have guns to protect ourselves. Just like we need to have nuclear weapons because they got nuclear weapons. It's not going to stop the bad guys from shooting people. It's not going to stop the bad guys from buying a gun wherever they want to buy one. Trust me, I know. I've been to people say the gun show loophole. They say action of the gun running that we have, especially here in Texas. And in that scenario, we don't know who's purchasing them. Most of them go to cartel, but then again, cartels sell their weapons too to make their money. You don't think that they're just running fentanyl across the borders, do you? But that's your decision. That's your choice. But please do not put it on me or others to protect you. You're on your own. I will choose to pretend. I will choose to protect myself in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And when it comes down to it, River, you need to be protected. You need to have somebody step in and stop you from getting hurt. It ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna walk right the hell by you because it's that stupid. Because the fact is that you are putting your life in danger, and I would rather go out running or fighting than on my knees begging for my life. That's just me. The toxic masculinity, toxic male. Maybe we need more people that are willing to protect their wives and their kids and their loved ones. Maybe we need more toxic men because the fact is that's what our job is as males. We're supposed to provide security. We're supposed to try and provide an environment for our children to grow up in and to do for them better than what we were done for. Give them a better life than what we had for. I cannot provide that life if you will not let me protect my kids. I cannot provide that life if you expect the government to protect my kids. I don't trust any of it. So that's the one way I feel about it. There's a lot of other individuals that call us rednecks, call us whatever you want to, or whatever. We grew up around guns. We use guns. There's people here that I live with. Every year they get a deer. They don't have to worry about meat for the rest of the winter. Got boys out here still going. They get out of school and they go squirrel hunting. What they do is squirrel. Well, they keep them home. You know what? They feed them they ball them up, feed them to their dogs. The whole train of progression that people aren't understanding. The fact is that, you know what? We are the top of the species. And once we start killing ourselves off and we allow each other to be killed off without anybody standing up to them, say one word or two words, Nazi Germany. They took away all the weapons. You couldn't have a weapon. You had to identify yourself if you were Jewish. Then they shot you like a dog in a ditch. Or they gassed you in a gas chamber. Be very careful what you're saying here. Be very careful about the choices that you're making when you actually see a gun owner and actually have a weapon who is acting responsible with that weapon. Why don't you stop thinking, well, I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's here. One less thing I got to worry about. So, last thing I'll say is this. You're on your own, people. You're on your own. I am not going to sit back and take all this bullshit because I own weapons and I'm a bad guy and you got to run a background check on me. I got to give you my underwear size, a DNA sample, my credit report. I got to do all this shit just on a fucking weapon. Get the fuck out of here. Because that weapon one day might save your life. Because if there's a chance of something going wrong, you better be prepared when it does go wrong. Life ain't rosy. It ain't gonna all be all. It ain't all gonna be roses. It ain't gonna all be the golden path. Sometimes things get ugly, and sometimes things have to be dealt with. We as a nation are ready to deal with that. The last shooting I'll go over is Uvalde, because the fact is, it pissed me off so bad to see that many people with a weapon who did not save those kids. They backed down from an AR-15 because we put the fear of God into people that an AR-15 can't be overwhelmed. It's the worst weapon in the world. I'm sorry. AR-15 is not the best weapon. It's just been stigmatized so much because it's in the news so much. Oh, they got a long way. It's an AR-15. Everything's an AR-15. Well, let's just hope these people don't decide to get other weapons and do mass damage, because there are better weapons out there. But Uvalde should piss everybody off. And instead of screaming for gun control, if you're in Uvalde, I would be asking for them to have to place somebody in there, a veteran, somebody who has access, who has knowledge of arms, knows the rules of engagement, knows the rules of force, who's in there protecting those kids. It's a fundamental right of your kids to go and be protected at their school. School should be the last place that we worry about weapons. How do you maintain a gun-free environment? Well, you actually create a gun-free environment by putting somebody else with a gun who deters or detects those who actually have bad intentions and actually carrying weapons when they're not supposed to be carrying weapons. A schoolhouse should be where people go. You should feel dressed safe dropping off your kids and picking them up, and knowing if something happens, the school will call you. But just as we see in Uvalde, these parents ran. They ran to try to get into that building. Not one of them had an arm on them. Not one of them were armed. Let's play this case out. How many parents would have run in there who were unarmed and who would have been shot trying to retrieve their children? Because the fact is, the police wouldn't even go in. I could tactically break down to you that how the police force acted wrong on that, the whole 9 yards or whatever. They could have saved many, many, many lives if the armed personnel were taking responsibility of actually protecting and serving. But they didn't. So why are all these people getting killed in mass casualties across the board in places we don't even think about anymore, churches, schools? Why? Because they ain't got nobody else there to fight back. It's easy target. They can just go in there and lay people out, and there ain't nobody going to do nothing to them. Like I said before, the only time they drop their weapon is whenever you take it out or they kill themselves. That's the power of a weapon. That's the power of you protecting your kids. That's the power of your kids knowing my daddy's coming to get me. And you need to let your kids know that. Whatever happens at school, whatever, I'm coming in. I may be coming in hot, but I'm coming in. If we had more parents that understood the safety of their children and understood the environment they're putting their children in, it's a no-go zone. It's a gun-free zone. And it should be. But now we see that really they're not protecting our kids because they're not protecting against people who enter guns illegally. I mean, we're not talking about stealing crayons here. We're talking about somebody coming through your school with a weapon in a bag, loading it up, and going to shoot your kids. Please tell me somebody didn't see that and knew that was wrong. Teach your kids better, man. Because we live in that type of world. Doesn't matter how much you stay on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Make it a pretty, pretty picture and send flowers and send. It's a deal. When your kids walk out that door, it's still a dangerous freaking world. You as a father, you as a mother have to teach them how to survive in this world. It's part of your job. It's going to cause some controversy. I'm sure I'll get no comments, no whatever. But anyway, the fact is, this needs to be said. I'm going to share it out on Facebook, share it out on Twitter. I'm going to share it out to wherever. But the fact of the matter is that if you see me, no, I will not help you. I will not ask people to come to your aid. I will not ask. I'll wait till I'll do like the police do. I'll just wait till the shooting stops and come haul your ass out of there. How about that, B? How about the toxic masculinity?